Whoa, now this was worth waiting for. Hey there, I'm Dan, the self-proclaimed lonely rocker. Welcome to this episode of I Don't Have a Band. And today I'm taking a look at UniChannel from United Plugins. Now this is a modular channel strip plugin that emulates 3 vintage style consoles, and it's mix and match, giving you up to about 27 different vintage signal chains for your DAW. Now important to know that the guy who developed this plugin has been collecting vintage gear for over 20 years and taken all of that expertise and crunched it down into one plugin. Well, we're going to check it out today. Let's not waste any more time and jump in and hear how it sounds. All right, let's check out UniChannel, or is it UniChannel? Well, if it sounds good, I guess it doesn't really matter. All right, so this is a modular channel strip. It's not a complete console or 3 different consoles. These are different devices that have been brought together to create these unique channel strips, and then you can mix and match them. Each one is grouped by where they're from and a certain period, but again, you can mix and match them, and we'll show you that in a second. So just the basics of the plugin, you've got an input section. This is your preamp. You've got the EQ section, and then you have the compressor section. This is set to the all British console. I'll go into the specifics of what's here in a second. We've got the all German, and then we have the all US. So you can see just from a graphical point, gives you sort of a rough idea where these probably came from, but I'll leave that up to your imagination. So I'm just going to push some sound through it. I'm not going to turn any dials, but you'll notice that we can hear sort of the characteristics of each console coming through without changing any settings. I'll start with in bypass, and I'll just cycle through the main consoles. So the one thing that I did notice here is this Mojo setting, knowing United plugins the way I do, that's saturation. So you've got some nice saturation here on the input section, so you can drive that. I love that you have an output on each module here, at least on the preamp and on your compressor. While the preamp, it remains on all the time, you can actually turn the compressor or the EQs off. So if you just wanted to use the preamp, for example, and use a different compressor or whatever, you have that option here. Or you can mix and match the other modules here. But when setting doing your settings, it's nice to be able to turn off the compressor, for example, work on your EQ, and then introduce the compressor. I don't think you can move the order around. I think it's a fixed order of EQ, then compression. I haven't seen a way to change that. So that's one thing you should note. But you can mix and match simply by clicking the tabs here. We can go to a British preamp. Let's see, German EQ. And we've got a US compressor here. Just clicking here, you have the 3 different options. So let's take a look at the specifics of the components in the British console. The British console houses a 70s style transformer FET preamp, EQ, and diode bridge compressor. The EQ features a high-pass cut filter, switchable low shelf between 35 Hz and 220 Hz, and a single adjustable frequency between 700 Hz and 7K, and a high shelf gain. The compressor features threshold, ratio, attack, and release settings, plus an adjustable sidechain high-pass filter. And now let's look deeper into the features of the German console. The German console features a 50 style 2 preamp, a 60 style EQ with a 40 Hz low shelf filter, 10 kHz high shelf filter, one adjustable gain between 700 Hz and 2.8K, and an early 50s tube Varimu compressor with attack, release, and sidechain high-pass filter. And lastly, let's check out the different aspects of the US console. The US console delivers an 80 style op-amp preamp and EQ with high and low shelf filters with fixed high and low pass, and 4 adjustable peak filters, and an early 50s tube compressor with a threshold, release, and sidechain high-pass filter. So let's hear what this plugin can actually do. In this first example, I'm using UniChannel on the drum bus. I'm using a US preamp, British EQ, and the US compressor. For example 2, I'm doing some parallel compression on the drums. I duplicated the drums minus the cymbals. I'm using the British preamp, US EQ, and a ton of the British compressor, and then I blended it in with the other drum track. So a couple of notable features that I want to mention is that the VARM technology, or is it VARM? Anyways, this ensures a type of analog randomness. So every instance of the plugin will respond a little bit differently. They're probably extremely subtle, but that's the uniqueness of analog gear. And I think that's what makes the appeal of analog gear, is that it's a little more unpredictable than very cold and dry digital equipment. So this plugin attempts to create that randomness by every time you use a different instance of the plugin, it'll be slightly different. And the other one is automatic gain compensation. That's a great feature. It just automatically keeps that output level similar to the input level. Obviously, you can ride your output level for that final adjustment, but it's going to keep it pretty close. So as you're making adjustments to all of your different tracks, you're hearing the effects of what you're working on, and not just, more loudness, because that always colors what you're hearing. It's a great feature to have in the plugin. It's something that I think should be standard in every plugin. In this third example, I've got UniChannel on bass, this time using an all US channel strip. Well, if this video has been holding your attention, perhaps you'd consider clicking the like button. It goes a long way to supporting this channel, and I really appreciate that. Of course, you can leave a comment, you can share this video, and ultimately, if you like what I'm doing, you can hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. There are also other ways to support this channel, my Patreon, I've got affiliate links, all sorts of things. I'll put those in the description. Every little bit helps, and I really appreciate that. All right, let's get back to the video. Now, if I could only have one plugin, there's all these debates as if you could only use one plugin, what would you use? Well, I definitely think you should think about a channel strip, because it contains all of the key elements that you need to mix a track, with the exception of maybe a reverb. You've got your preamp section, so you've got so your saturation, which is, I think, critically important to create some good character in your tracks. Obviously, an EQ is essential, one of the most essential component of mixing, and then compression certainly to manage your levels. And you've got all that you need here, and plus being able to mix and match with different flavors, different styles will give you enough variety. I'm certain you could pretty much mix a whole track with this one plugin and maybe just slip in a reverb. In fact, I challenge you, try and mix a whole song with just this plugin, and I'm sure you'll come up with some interesting results. If you try it, let me know in the comments. UniChannel is great on the master bus. This time I'm using the US preamp, German EQ, and that famous British compressor for the final glue. Well, I think this is a great sounding plugin. I think it has all the essentials of what you need to mix a great song. I mean, certainly we like variety. I mean, in the plugin age, there's no limitation to what we can use, but you have almost everything that you need here to mix a track, with the exception of some ambience, reverbs and things like that. But I love this plugin. It's big, it's bold. I love the saturation on the color that it brings to the different tracks. I love the variety and the different combinations, so not everything sounds the same. You can create these unique channel strips. You can save them as presets, and it gives you a lot of character. Really, that's the word that comes to mind when I was using this plugin. Now, the thing about United Plugins, you've got free trials on all of their plugins, so it's definitely worth getting your hands on. So definitely worth checking out. If you do get your hands on it, let me know in the comments. Well, if you've made it this far, I would love to know who you are. Perhaps you can let me know in the comments, or something as simple as clicking the like button tells YouTube you like this content and encourages me to make more of it. Don't forget to check the description for any other information or other ways you can support this channel. And most importantly, I hope I'm going to see you in another video. I've got a couple of options right here. And remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll. And I look forward to seeing you again in another video.